So in this video I will do a little review of this Winsor & Newton Cotman watercolour paint palette. I gratefully received this for Christmas. I really would like to try watercolour again. I have tried it before, but I didn't really get on with it. Whilst I've been ill, on the really bad days I spend quite a lot of time sat in bed watching YouTube videos. And I'd seen that there are lots and lots of fun techniques and ways to use the watercolour paints. So I really wanted to give it a go. So I was very happy to receive this for Christmas. So before I delve into the review, do remember that you can use the timestamps or the chapters in the video description if there's a particular part that you'd like to look at, or if you need to skip over a bit. We don't do clickbait on this channel. So this palette came in a kit from Hobbycraft. It was like a craft bundle where you got the watercolour palette, a postcard size sketch pad of watercolour paper and a set of brushes. I don't think they sell it in a bundle anymore, but at the time of recording, this palette as it stands on its own costs £20 from Hobbycraft. You might be able to get it cheaper somewhere else. I don't know, I haven't done the research on that bit. So the palette is a Cotman watercolour Sketchers pocket set. It has 12 individual cubes of paint, which I really like that idea because I like the idea of switching out the colours if you need to, rather than being tied to the colours that are set inside the watercolour palette. Many years ago, when I did try watercolour painting, I did have a palette with fixed colours that you couldn't replace or change. And I remember that was a little bit frustrating because I wanted different colours. So this to me was absolutely perfect, being able to switch the colours if I need to. If I enjoy doing the watercolour painting, I expect that will be the case. There's also a small portable paintbrush in the set as well. So the first task was to unwrap all of the individual squares of colours. That was quite challenging in itself. It's very fiddly. There was a lot of cellophane and a lot of paper, but I suppose you've only really got to do that the first time that you use the whole kit. But after unwrapping about 3, I was done with unwrapping. I just wanted to get on with the painting, but we got there in the end. It wasn't one of those jobs that was never ending. I decided to prepare a swatching page for reference, just so that I could see the colours on the paper. And I used one of the postcard size pieces of watercolour paper from the pad. And in this watercolour set we have lemon yellow hue, cadmium yellow hue, viridian hue, sap green, cadmium pale red, yellow ochre, Lazarian crimson, burnt sienna, ultramarine, burnt umber, cerulean blue and Chinese white. I don't know why I needed to swatch the Chinese white. It doesn't show up on the page, but I did it anyway. I love the array of colours. At this point I was feeling quite excited to start using them. But after I'd done the swatching, I thought I'd better wash out the paint palette. And I couldn't figure out if it was possible to take the palette away from the actual paint palette side. Many years ago, on my old watercolour set that is no more, you used to be able to detach the palette so that you could wash it under the sink, and I couldn't find a way to do that with this Sketchers set. So I rinsed it out under the tap, all attached. I dried it off and I closed the set up, and then when I came back to do some of the painting, to actually test the watercolour paints on a painting, because I'd upturned the palette, All of the squares had fallen out of their little encasings. And I got a little bit mucky putting them all back in place. So I've been using this watercolour set now for 6 weeks, and 6 weeks later I still haven't found out if there's a way to detach the palette side from the paint side. I don't think it's possible, I don't want to break it, so I've just left it. I've found the easiest thing to do is to just wipe the palette down with a piece of kitchen towel, a bit of tissue paper or a wipe. However, if there's any water in any of the recesses, and if you don't keep the palette flat, it will dribble out. And it's so annoying. It's so irritating. There's got to be a better way to dry this out and clean it. As it stands at the minute, once I've used it, I leave the palette open on the table and I just let it dry out naturally. That would be a bit of a pain if I was travelling. If I was travelling with it and I was going out and sitting on a beach somewhere doing a painting, if there was water in the palette, I'd probably end up with paint all over me as I was walking away. I think the only way you could get around that is by taking a sealable plastic bag. So I'm a bit disappointed that the paint palette is not fully enclosed and leak proof, but I mean it's manageable at home if you're just leaving it on your desk, or if you've got an art or craft room. It's manageable, but it's not ideal. So over the last 6 weeks I have tried lots of different things with the watercolour paint. I have tried practicing washes, I have tried doing a little bit of urban sketching, and I've tried doing a couple of little paintings as well. They're not great. I'm still learning, that's fine. I've also tried a couple of little experiments as well with the watercolour paint. They're quite fun to do. I can highly recommend those. And basically, I've given it a good test really. At this point, today, I've really worn down the sap green and the cerulean blue. And I have replaced the Chinese white for a Payne's grey. These little squares are £2.70 in Hobbycraft. You might be able to get them cheaper elsewhere, but they're £2.70 to replace. So I did replace the white with the Payne's grey. And the white was a little bit difficult to get out of the paint palette to replace it. And the little replacement squares, they're wrapped in exactly the same way as the squares were when I received the palette as new. And you just buy them individually, so they're wrapped in cellophane and a little bit of paper. You just unwrap them and replace them. It was fairly simple, but I did have a little bit of difficulty getting the white out of the main palette. I love the colours, I love the consistency of the paint, I think it mixes well, it blends well, and as a beginner it does everything that I need it to do. So if you're looking to start out with watercolour and you are not sure what equipment that you need, I can very much recommend getting this Sketchers Pocket Set from Winsor & Newton. Like I said, the only downside I've found is that it is not leak proof. I'd also recommend that you don't rely on using the little portable brush that's included. For the experiments and the pictures that I've done, I've found that a number 8 brush a number 8 watercolour brush has been ideal. I'm not sure if this has got a special name. I will look it up, and if it has then I'll pop it on the screen. I do think it's value for money. It's £20 for 12 colours. And each of these squares individually cost £2.70, so for the paint it's definitely worth the money. And I'm really looking forward to learning a little bit more in regards to watercolour techniques to improve my processes. So I hope you've enjoyed this little review. Do give me a thumbs up if it's been useful, or even if you've just made it this far. And do check out my crafty updates if you'd like to see my progress on the watercolour paints, and I'll probably put up a full process video or two over the next few weeks. So if you don't want to miss out on any of those, do hit subscribe.